I'm from Rochester, born and raised. Like Mike Hennessy said, I was a police officer for 20 years in the city of Rochester. I retired 2020, served 20 years in this community. I was a graduate from the Rochester City School District and became a police officer, went into MCC, Cuca College, Brockport, and received my master's in public administration. That's where I knew Felix from Monroe Community College, where it was downtown on Main Street. So always wanted to be a police officer. Fifth grade, my DARE teacher. Everybody, you probably don't remember what DARE is, Drug Abuse Resistant Education. We had DARE program. It was about teaching kids to stay away from drugs. And I had a police officer, Lucille Everett, who came in to talk to us about that. And for me, it was more than about staying away from drugs because my parents already gave me that talk and things like that. But there's so many different distractions out here for kids today. But for me, it was about the relationship. And that's what life is about, relationships. It was about the relationships that I built with Officer Lucille Everett that got me wanting to be a police officer. And so I did that. So at 14 years of age, I went to John Marshall High School for the Law and Magnet Government program. After that, I went to I joined a program called the Police Explorers. It's like a Boy Scout program where we got together once a week, similar to what you all are doing here, and we learned about law enforcement. So I knew that there was a path that I wanted to take in life. Right? In order to know where you want to go, you have to set up a path to how to get there. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And I wanted to talk about four pillars today. Motivation, obstacles, and I took some definitions as well. Motivation, obstacles, a process, and success. Right? We all want to be successful in life, right?
Absolutely.
Right? We all want to be successful. Everyone has their own definition of what success is. Everyone has their own definition as to what success is. For me, it was being a police officer. I knew I wanted to be a police officer at a young age. I knew I had to set a path to get there. I knew I had to stay out of trouble. I knew I had to get good grades. I knew I had to go to college. You don't have to go to college to be a police officer, but education was so important in my family that my parents said, if you do good in school, you can have anything you want. And education opened a lot of doors for me as well. So I knew I had to stay out of trouble to get there. But that's what motivated me, wanting to be a police officer. So when you talk about you all loving the game of basketball, because you could be anywhere you want tonight, Friday, 5 o'clock. And trust me, there are a lot of kids out there who are on the street right now. All right? When I was last year in our community, we had 81 homicides. 81 homicides, the most we've ever seen in the city of Rochester. A lot of those homicides were kids, were young adults. Over 400 plus people shot. 400 plus people shot. 419 to be exact in our community. So when you talk about success, it's whatever your definition is. And when you talk about motivation, it's whatever motivates you to get up out of bed every morning. What motivated you to come here tonight? Because you love the game of basketball, I attend, right? You love the game of basketball. But when you want to be successful, there are going to be certain things that get in your way. There are going to be obstacles that happen. Obstacles can be physical, obstacles can be mental, right? So in order to get all those obstacles, you have to have a process in life. I tell everybody, when I was a police officer, I had aspirations to become police chief. I knew to get there we had to take tests. You have to prepare. You have to have a process. If there's a process for anything that you want to do in life, you have to find out what the process is, and you have to stick to the process in order to be successful. Just like the game of basketball, right? There are going to be obstacles in the way. The whole purpose of basketball is to win the game, right? Is to win the game. How do you win the game? You practice. That's the process, right? The obstacle can be the defender. If you're the offensive player going up in court, the obstacle is going to be the defender who's going to try to prevent you from scoring, right? The process is practicing. Practice makes perfect. And that's exactly what I had to do through my career in life. And there are going to be obstacles. The only person who can stop you from doing what you want to do in life is you. Somebody said it. Only person who can stop you from doing what you want to do in life is you. There are going to be people out there who tell you you can't do this, you can't do that. The only person who can stop you is you. So, motivation. What gets you out of bed every single morning, every single day? What brought you here today? You have the process. The process to how to be successful in life. And the successful is whatever you want it is to be, the definition. And then you have different obstacles to try to overcome. I knew what I wanted to be at a very young age. I knew the path that I had to take, and there were obstacles in the path. Trust me, there were obstacles. My life wasn't perfect. My mother was on drugs when I was growing up, but I lost my mother at 24 years old. I could have let that stop me. I could have chose to do something different. I could have chose to go left instead of right. But I had people in my life, mentors, people in the community who pushed me, who said, go do this. This is the right thing to do. And I had a father who was a strong figure in me and my brother's life. A father who was a strong figure in me and my brother's life, who said, one, stay off the streets, hang around good people. There's a saying that, how does the saying go? If you show me who your friends are, I can tell you what your future's gonna be. If you show me who your friends are, I can tell you what your future's gonna be. So we have to hang around positive people. Now, we're gonna have people in life who need help along the way, who may be going left, who may have to reach back and help out. And that's okay. That's what we have to do in life. But those are the 4 pillars that I wanted to talk to you about today, with success, motivation, and the process, and then the obstacles that can hinder us from becoming what we want to be in life. So I heard I only had 10 minutes to do this, but is there any questions that anybody want to ask me? So obviously I worked for 20 years in law enforcement, and now I'm running for Congress. People say, why do you want to run for Congress? Why do you want to put yourself out there? Because for me, it's about serving the public. You know, one, we serve God first, but I also want to leave people in a better place than when I first found them and make life better for the people that a congressman represents. Because as a congressman, your job is to make laws, educate and provide constituency services for the district which you're going to serve, and make life better for the people in your district. And the district for this area is Monroe County. And that's my whole goal, because there were people who made life better for me, whether they were family, friends, or representatives. And like I said, you can do anything you want to do in life. And each and every one of you is here tonight because you want to do something positive, you want to do the right thing, because you don't have to be here. Nobody's making you want to be here. You chose to be here. And that's part of the process as well. I would say the biggest thing that you can do out here is just explore. It's just explore. You know, one, I did a lot of reading. You know, there's a lot, reading takes your mind to so many different places. So reading, they say reading is fundamental, right? Reading is fundamental. You can take your mind to so many different places, explore. So many people go to college for liberal arts because they don't know what they want to do. And that's fine. And college sometimes is not for everybody. So I don't want to say that I know people who don't go to college become very successful people, entrepreneurs. I'll be the first to say college is not for everybody. Some people like going to trades, electricians, plumbers, carpenters. They make a lot of money. And there are so few of them today. They make a lot of money. There's so few of them today. So I would say is to continue to explore and don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. I'm 41 years old. In law enforcement, you can work 20 years, retire, and get a pension, a paycheck once a month for the rest of your life. Not many people know that. You can work 20 years in a career in law enforcement, work for your community, and like Mike said, there's good and bad in everything in every profession, good and bad, every profession. But the majority of police officers across this country want to do the right thing, and they say it's a calling for what you want to do. But you can work 20 years, retire in a New York State system and get a check for the rest of your life. I'm 41 years old. When I tell people I'm retired, they say, what did you do to retire at 41 years old? Because most people retire when they're 60, 65, 66, 70. Some people work to they're 75 years old. But you can work 20 years in law enforcement, retire, get a pension, and work and start a whole other career. And I think that's what many people, particularly people in the urban community, don't know. And that's why so many law enforcement departments try to recruit from the urban community. There's so many opportunities. You get health care for the rest of your life. The benefits may not seem important to you now, but when you get older, you start going to the doctors and you start aching, those things start to come into play. So there's so many benefits to life. There really is. You have to take, let me tell you something. You only get one life. You only get one life, and you have to live it. You have to live it. You only get one life. And unfortunately today, there are people who their lives are being taken from them, from the circumstances that sometimes they put themselves in, or they just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, like the 14-year-old who was shot and killed earlier this year. I've seen a lot in my career, in my 20 years. If you work hard, you can accomplish anything that you want to do. I rose to the chief of police, the highest rank in the Rochester Police Department, at 39 years old. I would have still been doing it, but there's sometimes certain things, there's obstacles and things that happen throughout life that make you make choices. And when you have morals, integrity, values, and principles to stand by, it's not hard to make those choices. It's not hard to make those choices. So, okay. Any other questions? Or yes. Yes. Through influence. I was a chief of police, right? Chief of police of the department. It starts at the top. Many people say it starts at home, right? It starts at home with your parents. Some people don't have the type of role model maybe necessarily in the home, but they may find somebody out in the community who they can emulate, who they can take the values that they want to possess from that. So it's about influencing people. It's about motivation. What motivates you, right? For me, it's always wanting to leave people in a better place than when I first found them. And sometimes doing that, you have to meet people where they are. And so, yes, so one person, I believe, can change a culture, but it starts with one person at a time. And you have to influence everybody you come into contact with. You try to leave them with something that you did not have them first encounter with. So, yeah, I mean, is it going to be, nobody says it's going to be easy. Nobody says it's going to be easy. Trust me, I fought a lot of things when I was a chief of police. You have a lot of different things. You have, you're the chief of police of the community. You're the chief of police of the rank and file in the department. You have this thing called unions that you have to deal with as well. But as a chief of police, your job is to be a leader and to obviously achieve a common goal. And your job is to bring everybody onto that platform, whatever you're trying to accomplish. And you can do that in a number of ways. I had 4 stars when I was chief of police, but I didn't want people to do things when I told them to do because I had 4 stars on my collar. The police department is a paramilitary organization. Could I order somebody to do some things like the army, like the general? If I tell somebody to do something, they have to do it, or it's insubordination, as long as it's a legal order, right? But you want people to do things because they believe in you, because you are a leader. You have the ability and influence, and you emulate the behavior and the leadership principles that they think you want them to do. I never asked anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Just like there are bad leaders and there are good leaders. And throughout my 20-year career, I had a lot of supervisors. But you take something from each individual person, like I was saying earlier. You take something from each individual person. It may be good. You say, I'm not going to do that. It may be great. You say, I'm going to mimic that or make it better. So life is constantly evolving. We're always learning. And, for me, it does my heart good to see that you all are here tonight doing something positive, because we know that for every one of you out here doing something positive, we know there's 5 or 6 people who are not right now in this community. And I think the goal is to try to, for our leaders in the community, the politicians, our mayor, governor, congressman, city council, is to try to do some positive things in our community to involve everyone, to bring everyone to the table where you all are today. Because I guarantee you, if you stick with what you're doing now, you're going to be successful. Only person who can stop you is you, period. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What kept you going?
Oh, I'll tell you what. The last year and a half for me has been a tough year. What keeps me going is you got to keep fighting. The motivation, right? The end goal is success. For me, when I left the police department, I said I wanted to move down south, get out of this cold weather, right? But I think there's still a lot of work to do because sometimes God orders our path. So I always say you have faith, family, and friends. You have faith, family, and friends. Those are the things that kept me going throughout the last year and a half, and even when times got tough when I was the police chief. You know, every single time someone was murdered in our city, I got a phone call. Every single time someone was murdered in our city, whether it was 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, I got a phone call. But you have to have the ability to know that you can make a difference every single day. Every single day. And when I got that phone call, it was knowing that there was going to be one person not at the dinner table for that family, whether it was a child, an adult. And so you got to keep going to make things better for our community, better for people like you in this community. We have 200,000 people in the city of Rochester. And every single day, when you hear something negative happen, whether it be on the news or something personal to somebody, is that you just got to have faith. Faith kept me going because being a police officer is not an easy job. You know, I mean, some of the things that you all have to deal with each and every day that you see, peer pressure is not easy. It's tough to make a right choice, the right decision. You know, because you know what? Sometimes the right decision is not the popular decision. And in today's world, we got social media, Facebook, Twitter. We do things for likes. We do things for likes. You know, that's pretty much what people do them for. But you have to have something right here in your heart that says, this is why I do what I do. It's motivation. And that's something that is going to be different for each and every one of us. For me, it was faith. Faith kept me going. Faith, family, and friends, and having somebody to talk to when times got tough. Because we're going to have tough times in life. We're going to have tough times. But you all working together is going to keep each other going and keep each other motivated. But faith is, I would say, is the biggest thing for me. It's a good question. Good question. Because sometimes you're going to want to give up. But don't ever give up. Like Felix said, don't ever give up. Hard work, you can do anything you want.